Hello YouTube, this is Karacakes bringing you another PGA Tour 2K23 video. We're here with another CC walkthrough for the week, and we are going to Brederson Country Club, made by Brian Ross, aka B Ross 2387, probably on PC, I'm not sure, but not on PlayStation. There is a promo tour event this week as well, so make sure you go and check that out if you want to advance tiers quickly. But in the meantime, we're going to look at the CC course because a lot of you will play your regular weekly rounds and not all of you will play promotion tour. So let's take a look. We're going to be playing exclusively from the blue tees this week, which are the longer tees at 7,400 yards. We have firm, and medium fast as our default conditions. It looks to be medium fast at 7.3 is usually in the 150 somewhere. Probably pretty close to 155 fast green, so it'll be roughly that if you get default, which you get one round of default green speeds this week. I believe in round 3. So we're going to check it out. Blue tees, as I said, every round. Pin 1, we're going to do round 1 conditions today. And we're doing medium and east, default fairways and green firmnesses, which are firm, and moderate green speeds for the first round. We're going to ease into things this round. Default time of day and weather as well, so you could just basically jump in with minimal changes. And let's go and see what this week is all about. I've been told that there are some very tough greens on certain holes, but overall it's not too difficult. It's a CC type course. So let's check it out. I'm going to try to keep this video a little shorter than I have been. So fairly straightforward drive. If you have a longer drive and more wind at your back, be careful not to run it through the green, the rough, or into these bunkers, obviously. Not too fancy though, just hit it into the fairway and you'll be good. Looking at the green, it's even if you're in the rough, you can have a chance to get birdie still, so don't worry too much. There we go. First shot of the day for me. Happy to get a perfect. So, as you can see, we drive pretty far down if you have a longer driver and you have a wedge in your hand. Probably a gap wedge, unless you have a specialty bag like me that has like a pitching wedge in this range. We're going to take off some distance because I want to make sure we land a little shorter. But go a little pin seeking here. Little downhill. Lie at our feet as well. So let's see if we can do this. Felt really good. Landed short. Oh, did we ever go pin seeking, huh? Very good. Very, very good. Nothing too fancy on that hole. Just hit it up. All right. This one is a little fancier. Not too fancy, obviously. You have to be careful with your longer drivers. If you don't have wind in your face, you might go through the fairway. So some shape or making sure you aim for this part of the gap, this part of the fairway is going to be good. If you tend to overpower your shots, if you don't have the wind in your face too much, you can kind of just aim for this part of the fairway anyways, and you'll slice in between these and be on sort of the right side of the fairway. That'll be pretty good. This is a par 5, so really make sure you're in the fairway here. It is imperative. I am hitting nothing but perfects right now. So as you can see, you could split the fairway pretty easily if you hit your perfect tempo. But you're still left with something kind of long, so make your decision. I'm going to use spin to increase the distance of my club. Because on a 3-iron, a 4-iron, a 3 hybrid, 3 wood, you add distance if you have good shaping with spin. I don't think I still reach, but I'm going to try to make it so that I have like a 20-foot putt or something. That would be optimal. The perfects just keep coming. And as you can see, we're within that range. 18 feet, that's about what I was expecting. fantastic little shot. And there we go for eagle. Nothing too fancy on that green. Just straightforward. Hit it in the fairway, hit the green, hit your putt. Oh, now we have a drivable par 4 that is a pretty short distance. So in this scenario, you are looking to try to shape it right to left and get it to hit somewhere in this area and get it up there, whether you want a partial or U-shaping or, you know, I don't know, fast it on purpose or something. Whatever you decide, try to make the ball come in from the right. Use the wind to bring you back to the left and some shaping if you want to, and try to get it to hit the frontish part of the green, preferably somewhere in here. Let's see if we can do that. It's a very tricky shot, but let's see. Let's see what we got. A little slow, so we're gonna be on the right side. Are we gonna get high enough up there? No. As you can see, it wants to kick you off if you're short of the green. So we did a pretty good job, but the slow kind of kills us. But here, just make sure you don't go off the front of the green. So aim a little high if you need to, if you're uncomfortable with your tempo or something. I'm gonna put a little spin on it and see where we can go from here. First chip of the day is a perfect. It's a miracle. Got a little far, but so as you can see, it wants to release a little. So do be careful. Little downhill past the hole with some bend. So land it short if you're worried about that. All right, this one's a pretty tough par 3 because we have slope that wants to kick you out back towards the fairway, the green side rough, and the bunker. But you kind of need to play for right around here for the best shot. Since you have an 8-iron or a 9-iron in your hand, maybe even a pitching wedge if you have a powerhouse build out, you can reach here in 2 or in 1 and right near the hole with some spin. So in this scenario, do I have enough distance? I'm thinking 158, 157, 152. Yeah, I'm close enough that I'm happy with this. I might even de-loft it just to make sure it has the distance. Put some spin on it and send it. Oh, I pulled it. Pulled in fast, but in a good spot still. Not too complicated. This is obviously a trickier putt than we could have had, but we take it. Very good putt. Won't be ashamed of that. We gave it a chance. Just missed high side. Alright, hole 5. Another slightly tougher than expected fairway. You have plenty of space though. Luckily, it's like, what? Like 15 yards wide, maybe a little longer than that, 20 yards wide. So you have enough space to work with. You can use some left to right shape if you want. Just to make it guide down this fairway a little easier. Don't need to worry about being too short or anything, or too long. Driver will just be fine. You'll have a good approach in. It's a slightly longer hole because of that dogleg nature of it. Tough pin. It wants to roll off the green if you're a little too far right. If you land here without a lot of spin, it will go off. So just try to get it up here in a good spot. Preferably on the left side of the hole, but or if you leave it short, try to leave it like short here. Then you'll have an uphill putt that shouldn't run away from you. I'm going to need to loft this quite a bit because it is downhill and the wind isn't too strong, so keep that in mind. This looks really good. A little short, like I said, but looking at that, that leaves us a pretty nice putt. Rather be short than long here because you don't want this. This is a very downhill putt. As you can see, these meads are moving pretty quickly, even on 134 greens. That means that's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. If it's rolling that much, like, if you're going to be long, please only be 1 or 2 yards long. That's a putt that breaks mostly at the start, but not too much at the end, making it a pretty easy one. But it's possible to miss that. I've missed those before. Alright, so if you have a shorter driver, you kind of have to go for here and try not to hit it too far that it kicks into the bunker. Same principle as some of the earlier holes. You could kind of carry this bunker if you have the distance. As you can see, I have like all my bonuses activated that give me plus distance on this shot. So luckily I can carry this, especially with the wind at my back. But if you can't carry it, you might want to cut down your distance a little, make sure you get here, or use shaping from left to right to make it land here and want to kick to the right. You don't want it to go left, you don't want it to go straight. Luckily, it's very cambered so that you should avoid the rough if you land in the fairway-ish. Even if you land right here, it should kick you out. But if you know, have a fast or something as a righty like I am, it would be tough because it'll want to go from right to left with the fast, and that'll counteract some of this slope and kind of kick out into the rough. So if you're gonna do that, try to make sure you hit your tempo and put a good counter shape to it. A little slow, but that just means we're in the light rough. As you can see, if you hit it perfect, you're good. And even this slow, I hit it pretty slowly, and I still got a good result out of it. So we're losing some distance, so I'm just going to add a little D-loft to this. See if we can't get it up there. A little slow, I straighted it accidentally. As you know, I tend to push it, but sometimes I get a straight ball. So I'm a little further away than I want to be, but it came out cleaner in the rough than expected. We're okay with that, though. Oh, that's a good putt. I'm reading the 134s pretty well here. And now you have a long par 4 or par 3, and you know how tough these can be, especially with everything sloping away from the hole. Nothing given on this hole. You need to be on the left side of the hole, or else it's going to roll and kind of go out to the right, and then you'll have an uphill putt. If you're down here, you'll have a slightly longer uphill putt. I really would prefer to be on the left, but if you're on the left, you have to remember it will be a downhill putt. So pick your poison, it'll be downhill past the hole. So be careful wherever you aim for. I'm going to make sure I take off some distance because the wind at our back is going to want to make this get some momentum and kick forward. Oh, that felt really bad. So as you can see, my tempo has been going a little bit. And we're downhill, like I said. We're even going to take like one more foot off just to be careful here. Play plenty high because these are slower greens, so anything that's moving kind of quickly is actually breaking like a ton. Though do keep in mind the first part of the break won't play as much because you're hitting it pretty hard. Very happy with that. No risk of going off the back. I'm very pleased with that putt. Good lag putt. Almost had a good line at it too. This is a tough par 5 because of the fairway. The fairway is pinched at your driver distance. He did this on purpose. You can tell that he was like, oh, most people have 290, 300 yard clubs. I'm going to make this little part of the fairway very narrow. So you have to decide if you're going to go for it or not. If you go for it, there's a very good chance you could be in the rough or bunker if you don't hit a good tempo. So keep that in mind. You kind of need the distance, though. Laying up here doesn't really accomplish anything other than have a very long 3-wood in if you have a longer 3-wood, or driver off the deck. So make your decision. If you do lay up a little bit, you can reach, but it's going to be a tough shot. We land in the fairway very comfortably and have a longer approach shot again. Unfortunately, we don't like that as much, but we can live with it. We're going to loft our club into the wind, making it the wind play a bit more. 242, 241, 244 this would normally play. So hopefully the loft kills it enough. Felt like a really good tempo. Did we kill it enough? It looks like we did. I think this is going to land very nicely. Oh, I'm very happy with that. That's just experience talking right there. Kind of knowing how much the wind plays when you loft the club is very, very important. With my hybrid, it doesn't reduce a lot of distance if I have wind purely sideways, but if the wind is in my face, I can make the wind play a lot more with enough loft on the hybrid. Kind of opposite of the last game, to be honest. All right, another pinched fairway. This designer really hates people who have 300-yard drivers like me. He's like, well, if you're going to overpower my course, I'm going to make sure you earn it. So again, make your decision. If you have a layup option, you can go for it. It would be somewhere in like the 180 range if you use a 3-wood or something. So pick your poison here. My favorite line I say on this channel. I'm gonna hit a slight slow and be perfectly fine. I just made sure I wasn't too fast there, and I would be good. Alright, a little uphill, wind in our face. I'm gonna need to de-loft my club here to make the wind play less and to gain a little extra distance. Because with the wind in my face, it just takes it out of range where I'd probably land like 5 yards, 6 yards short of the hole, and there's a chance it comes off the green. So I'd rather, in this scenario, be pin high, even be a little long. I'm okay. I'm trying to aim for about right here. That's my goal, right here in this area. That would be optimal. We landed about a yard longer than I wanted to, but it died, and so we are very happy. It's a very easy putt if you're right next to the hole. That was our goal. All right, you have water on your right. Fairway on your left, but also some rough and sand. So if you aim for out here, there's a chance it could kick through the fairway. I don't think with the wind in your face it'll ever kick through, but if you overpower or add distance in some other way, you can. So be careful. Some left to right shape is obviously the safe play here. Especially if you have one of your longer drivers, anything above 290, you can kind of play it out here. And if you get it to go to the right a little bit, you'll be perfectly safe. So let's look at this shape and see how it goes over to the left, then to the right, and then you're in a safe spot in the middle of the fairway. Little longer here, makes it a little tricky. I'm very much in between clubs. And if you land a little too far right, it might kick off the rough down into the fairway down here. Pretty tough green though, very tough. And as you can see, you don't look at this and you say, oh man, this is a very tough hole, but you see lots of left to right movement. And then if you turn your camera sideways, you could see that this slope is actually much more severe on the left side. So if you end up left enough of this green, this is going to be your putt. Oh wow, that looks a lot scarier than it did just looking at it straight, right? So your goal here is you're going to have to flirt with going off here. You kind of want to land in this area. Obviously would be perfect to land right here. But if you have a tendency to be fast, you have to be a little careful. If you land up here, you are going to not have a fun putt. It's downhill both ways. It's running away from the hole every single way. So this is a very tricky approach shot if you get it too far. So we're going to take that challenge. Land it right there. Lots of loft. Made sure it didn't roll out too much. Has a lot more spin if you loft it. In this scenario, it made sense to loft it to cut out the distance because my club was too long there. All right, again, pinch fairway, a little pass, but obviously this is slightly easier. But you have a bunker on your right. The good thing is, like, as long as you aren't landing right here, it does mostly kick away from the bunker. So as long as you're not right next to there, you're good. And even over here, if you land in the fairway, you should kick out into the fairway. So we're going to use this slope over here as our guiding point. We hit it a little slow, but that's, again, what we said, right? It wants to keep us in the fairway as long as we don't hit too bad of a tempo. Then you have a annoyingly long approach shot, a little in between clubs. If you lay back a little bit more, you can have like a full hybrid. In this scenario, if I add spin to my club, we add distance and the wind will play slightly more. So I know the wind wants to play about 4 or 5 yards on my longer clubs here. I'm gonna say 4 to make it easy, right? We're uphill about 1 yard, right? So 249, 245, we're back to 245. If we take off 246 and like loft it, it's gonna go even further. So we can't, the hybrid's out of the question unless you want to partial it. So now you're here and you're like, can I cover 15 to 18 yards with this? Probably not. But if we add some spin and get it to carry further, if I do full spin, it's like 236, but it is harder to hit the tempo. So I'm going to play about 230. That means this will go about 234. If it lands on the on the green, I think I will have a putt at it at least. A little too slow. But as you can see, we got a lot of extra distance from the wind. That was our goal. So here, play it safe. It's severely yellow at our feet. So we just need to bring it to the slope and let it come down. Hit the perfect power, and now let's just see this come down all the way. All right. And so from that, you can judge. Oh, I don't need to play that safe, but I do want to take some off there. I just don't want to lose it. Alright. Not too difficult of a shot. If you're to the right, it might kick you pretty far away from the hole. And if you're pin high, it's going to be a pretty severely slope, as you can see. So your best bet is to be a little short, and you'll be in a good spot. With wind at our back, we definitely need to cut out some distance, though. So let's loft this a bit. Play it over here because of my shank. Make up for our last hole where we had a terrible shot, and whoa, that went far. So the wind picked that up and really sent it flying. I needed to loft even more, unfortunately. I think I played it too high, but I'll take that. It's always hard to judge those super downhill with some break on it. Sometimes it wants to take it, sometimes it doesn't. Alright, you have water in play on this hole. I think the easy way is to just take your 3-wood and just play right here. But if you always like to take your driver, very easily play it over here and you'll have a pitch shot on your second shot. I'm going to play the typical approach and play a hybrid or a 3-wood out here. In my case, I will play the hybrid. Play it comfortably out here. Not even risking the bunker or anything. And look at that. We have a good distance in. So we're going to loft this a bit. Don't want to be long again. If you're too long, look at this slope back here. It's a lot of slope. It's the same as last hole. Luckily, the sand wedge won't get as much wind if you loft it. Of course, the wind is just playing a lot more than it usually does right now, so I'm getting a little screwed here. I keep forgetting it's medium winds and not low winds. Medium winds tend to play a little bit more on the lower winds than it would on low winds. A 5 mile per hour on low winds plays a lot less than a 5 mile per hour on medium winds. It's very weird. The way they do wind in this game is very weird. It's more dictated by the wind speed set than it is by the actual wind speed. Tree there, bud. Why don't we show off a bad shot for once? Obviously, don't hit it slow if you're going to aim that aggressively into the fairway. Alright, so from the rough, you're going to have to land it short and let it run out. Especially on your higher clubs, you're going to have no spin. So pick a number and be comfortable with it. In this scenario, I'm going to play this club, 3, iron, and feel kind of okay with it. Just about missed. We shanked it a little harder than I usually do. I'm pretty happy with that. Again, a lot of yellow slope. This is a very severe sloping on this course. Oh, sometimes lucky. Those kinds of chips are like, if you get them, you're like feeling like, ooh, ooh, game likes me today. Alright, here. Sloped uphill, very aggressive par 4, short par 4, right? Water on your right, can't be slow. If you hit the front of this lip, it might not get up. If you're using a driver, it might get up, though. And that's kind of what you need to do. So in my case, because of the downhill elevation, I need to cut out some distance with some shaping into the wind so that I can kind of land right at the top of that slope and get it to die. Very difficult shot here, but we're going to try it. If we're left of the pin, I'm happy. Just landed a little, like I could have used 2 yards more off. But in this scenario, like, you're very happy. You just want to be on the green here. Alright? Pay attention to the hole. It's sloping downhill pretty severely, so I'm going to take off just that little bit more. Look at default power is 23 feet. I like to do 1 for 1, right? So I take off a foot of power with every power. So here is usually, if you're in the middle of the grid like I am right now, 3 feet will be about the middle of this green. So then I can judge like, oh, this will be roughly 6 feet going to about 7 feet at this one, because metric conversion and stuff. These grids are made in metric. So remember, like, every box is slightly more than 3 feet. If you keep that in mind, once you get to your third box, you know this is actually like 10 feet instead of 11, or instead of 9 feet. So now I know, like, this is how I count without the aim marker on. We have the aim marker on so we can test stuff in practice, but in the real rounds, this is how I do it. So down 5, I usually take off 6. And if I'm on super fast green speeds, I'm thinking like 7 feet off of power, maybe even 8 feet, depending on how severe the slope is. It keeps running off, so I definitely want to err on the side of caution. Take off 5 to 6 to 7 feet here. Down 5, I definitely lean towards the 6 or 7 feet. And if we're short, we're short. We don't care. Obviously, it depends on what, if you overhit, if you tend to overhit or underhit your putts as well. If you tend to overhit your putts, you're going to need to take off more. If you tend to underhit your putts, you're going to need to take off less. So keep that in mind. Learn your putting power. Alright, a little wind in our face. Probably going to cancel out some of like the gain we get from hitting off of the tee. Because hitting off the tee, you're guaranteed 100% lie. So, and we tend to hit it 101 or 102, so... Ooh, I'm going to de-loft a little. Just a little, though. We don't need to take off too much here. Or add too much. 7 mile per hour winds in our face. Gonna add a little bit more. Landed in front of the hole. I'm happy with that. This is a shot with the club I had. That's kind of the shot I go for. I don't want to go up a club and then have to loft it like 80%, right? In that scenario, I could go to a 7 iron and then loft it to 165, or it would have to be about 168, 169, which is around here for me. That's difficult. That's more difficult. There's a lot more that can go wrong. The more you shape, the more your miss is. So shaping is very tricky to get right. And then if you don't hit your tempo, you're gonna miss further. So that's always been the conundrum of, do I play partials or do I play shot shaping? You have to make that decision for yourself. Do you want to have more trouble maybe slightly hitting tempo with partials and getting the power exactly right, but the wind plays a little less and your misses are a little less wild? Or do you shot shape? I love shot shaping, but I've always had very good tempo because I'm a video gamer. I'm less of a golfer. I'm much less of a golfer than I am a video game player. That's why I'm so good at this video game, is that I am a gamer at heart. Played games for a long time and played competitively in Warcraft 3, Dota 2, and I've played some League of Legends, never played on a competitive level though. A little bit of StarCraft 2, but never really got into that either. Got bored of it. Alright. So, approach. It's on a slope. It's on a pretty tough slope. As you can see, it wants to run off to the left. So if you're going to miss, you're going to want to miss right where this slope is kind of helping you, right? Look at this slope. It's all going left or right. There's even a little tiny bit of a backstop here. It won't help you too much unless your ball is already traveling slowly. But if your ball is already traveling slowly, it could like start turning around and come like to about here. So we're going to play for that slope over on the right and be happy with it. Oh, I fasted it though. Fasted it and pulled it. I felt it on my sticks the entire time. It did not feel good. But this isn't too bad here. We're going to look at our slope again. Realize that it's pretty severe. Hit it perfect. This has a chance. Oh, it didn't bounce right at all. I thought it would bounce right, but that's the flat part, unfortunately. I'm very happy with that round. And I hope you were happy watching it. I hope you gleaned something from this. This was Brederson Country Club. It is, it's not too difficult distance-wise, but there are some tricky slopes here and there that make it more difficult. You know, it's not fancy in any way. It's a very standard country club course that is, you know, a pretty fair difficulty, pretty fun. Some good challenges on some of the holes with the sloping. You're going to want to avoid to be on the side of the hole too often because of the nature of the slopes. He tends to put a lot of holes on the top of slopes that are coming towards the golfer as you're approaching. That means lots of uphill at the hole, which means if you're pin high, it's going to be a very windy, sideways, bending putt. So try to avoid those spots when you see them on the course. Try to avoid the sides where the slope is taking you too far to away from the hole, unless you can get it to stop. If it looks like it's more gentle on that right side and it gives you a good putt up the hill, play for it. I showed you on like roughly the second or third hole where it was a pretty severe slope that goes off to the right. But if it stops and you're a little short, it can leave you with a pretty easy, simple, basic uphill putt. So that's your goal this week. Give yourself the best kinds of putts, control your distance quite well, appreciate the wind. When the wind is in your face, it gives you more stopping power. If you have wind at your back, it's going to want to climb up those hills a little bit more. So make sure you're short, especially on those ones with severe uphill. Then wind at your back, it'll give your ball enough time to settle. That'll do it for me. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all so much for the feedback I've gotten recently. I am going to be attempting a series with somebody pretty soon that I'm really hopeful for, that I think a lot of people will get a lot of benefit out of, but I need to iron out the details before we start doing it. And let me know what you think. I might ask for the CC or the promo tour tournament conditions, so tomorrow, check to see if I put up a new video. Make sure you hit the bell below, subscribe to get the notifications of my latest videos, because that'll be a nice present for you if I decide to do it. I just need to get the conditions, and that'd be a kind of a good treat. So thank you all for all the support. You've all been wonderful. It's been a great time on Twitch, despite all the drama that's been happening with the hacker that shall not be named. I've had a great time recently with the game, so hope we can continue doing this. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Love you guys. Mean it as always. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace out. Have a good week.